hotel room, but even so, if this is fake, they're not making themselves look good. You have now a second chance to move in with your mom, give those kids a stable environment, and have a roof over their heads. However, you didn't choose that. You are once again—
The Jenkins family drama has taken another shocking turn, and it's messier than ever. Just when they thought they had found some stability, they were kicked out of the hotel room they had just moved into, leaving them once again without a permanent home. A family of 7 is now back on the streets, struggling to secure a stable place to live. Stephanie, however, isn't taking any responsibility for what happened. Instead, she's pointing fingers at the public, claiming that hateful phone calls to the hotel led to their eviction. But is that really the truth? Can a few random calls from strangers actually convince an established hotel to throw out its guests? Or is there something much deeper at play in this situation? One of the biggest questions is whether the real issue was overcrowding.
This man comes before your kids. Y'all, whenever he was doing work and bringing things out to the U-Haul truck, he was struggling, things dropping everywhere. Oh, but Stephanie always has a message for us.
With 7 people packed into a single hotel room, it's possible that the situation was becoming a safety concern for the hotel management. While Stephanie went on social media, ranting about how the public had sabotaged her family's living situation, she painted herself as a victim and claimed that people were pretending to care about her children while secretly wanting them taken away and placed in foster care. This emotional plea attempts to shift the blame entirely onto outsiders.
Calls as the hotel got, and Stephanie said, like, oh, on true calls, I guarantee you they were letting the hotel know how many people that they really had in a hotel room. Anywhere that they go, any hotel, obviously haters are going to call the hotel and they're going to end up getting kicked out. These children—
Rather than acknowledging the reality of the situation. However, the real question remains, was it truly a case of malicious interference, or was the hotel simply enforcing its own rules and prioritizing safety? Stephanie insists that her family should stay together at all costs, but this raises an even bigger concern about what is actually best for the children. Keeping them in an unstable and potentially unsafe living situation may not be the right choice, no matter how much she wants to maintain the illusion of a united family.
Children need their own beds, and it's messed up though if people are calling saying like false shit or, you know, giving like outrageous lies. Like, that is where I draw the line. Now, my prediction is CPS is going to get involved. Those children are going to get removed.
These children have already lived through multiple unstable housing situations, moving between apartments and caregivers with no sense of long-term security. Drew's son has bounced from place to place, while Stephanie's daughters have faced similar struggles, moving between different guardians and now living in a cramped hotel room. With no guarantee of stability, it's hard to ignore the impact this will have on their well-being. The bigger issue isn't just about keeping them physically together in one place, but about providing them with a secure and stable future. As the adults in the situation, Stephanie and Drew are supposed to be the ones making difficult but necessary choices for their children.
Hotel. But I predict that. I bet you children are going to end up getting removed. Stephanie and Drew are going to stick together. They're not going to change anything. Also, too, I believe
it's their responsibility to ensure their kids grow up in a safe and stable environment, rather than forcing them to endure an ongoing cycle of housing insecurity. While Stephanie and Drew may be emotionally attached to each other and their current situation, it's important to ask whether they are truly making the best decisions for their children's futures. As time goes on, these kids will eventually grow up and look back on their childhoods, questioning whether their parents really did everything they could to provide them with a better life.
In a new hotel now. The video they posted is clearly from the old one. I don't even care. I'm not going to argue with a bunch of people on the internet. If y'all think they're in a new one, they left the other night, they left today, they left tomorrow, I don't care. The whole point of it was to let y'all know that they were rage baiting and exploiting those kids as usual. And the reason that they—
If Stephanie and Drew refuse to acknowledge their mistakes and take action to improve their situation, it's possible that their children will end up resenting them for not doing more. Stephanie's family drama became even more complicated when she turned her frustration toward her own mother, making accusations about past trauma and even threatening to expose her for things she allegedly did in the past. But her claims raise more questions than answers. Why bring up these accusations now? Is she truly speaking out about a long-held issue?
We're so upset over the fact they abandoned and neglected those cats. I mean, the cat was in such bad shape that literally TikTok was taking videos down thinking it was animal. Because it was. But again, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to argue with y'all. I know what I've been doing behind the scenes. I know the people that I've been in contact with, and I know how hard I've been trying to do anything I can for these people. Stephanie doesn't want help. She wants a hand.
Or is she trying to gain sympathy from the public and deflect attention from her own failures? There's a lot of confusion surrounding her motives, especially considering the contradictions in her actions. Her mother actually offered to take in the children, providing them with a more stable home environment. Yet, Stephanie turned down this offer, claiming that she couldn't bear to be separated from Drew.
As of like 20 minutes ago. And here's the deal, I'm not surprised. Honestly, it was bound to happen. I'm only surprised that it happened so quickly. In her newest video, she does a voiceover when they're in their old apartment and the floors are looking gross as hell. And she's like, y'all got us kicked out. And that to me, really? Like the audacity. Like it's not the...
This decision suggests that she is prioritizing her emotional attachment to him over what might actually be best for her kids. Stephanie's unwillingness to accept her mother's help is particularly concerning because she has openly accused her mother of being irresponsible. If she truly believes that her mother is unreliable, why did she turn to her for help in the first place? And if she was willing to reach out,
It's not the fact that maybe there were noise complaints because your man's screaming into his headset, or perhaps children being rambunctious crammed up in a hotel room. It's not the fact that perhaps you brought fleas and mange into the hotel because we saw the condition of your cat. Nah, it's the internet's fault. But remember, the internet has access to your children and to your living situation.
why did she reject the offer when it was extended? The contradictions in her behavior are troubling, making it seem as though she is more interested in controlling the situation and actually solving the problems her family is facing. Instead of making rational choices for the sake of her children, she appears to be caught in a cycle of blaming others while refusing to take the necessary steps to improve their circumstances. The more she speaks out, the harder it becomes to understand her reasoning.
Exploit them for views and for money. And in her voiceover, she also says something like, well, we're not going to stay with my mom. And mom, you better be careful. I'm going to start talking because I truly want to hear.
As her words and actions seem to contradict each other at every turn. One of the most reckless mistakes Stephanie made was exposing too many personal details about their living situation on social media. By openly sharing the name of the hotel they were staying at, she put her family in a vulnerable position, drawing even more public scrutiny. She claims that they were evicted because of outside interference.
All the things your mother did to you, that you refused to utilize her and her offer to give all those children, your dusty-ass man's son included, a safe and stable home.
But was that really the case? Or did the hotel have valid concerns that went beyond the phone calls? A business like a hotel has its own set of rules and safety protocols, particularly regarding room capacity and guest behavior. It's not hard to imagine that the hotel management may have been concerned about the overcrowding issue, especially with multiple children in one small space. Reports also suggest that the children may have been left unsupervised at times while Stephanie and Drew were out, which could have raised even more concerns for hotel staff. The possibility that hotel management made the decision to evict the family due to noise complaints, overcrowding, or safety violations cannot be ignored. While Stephanie blames the public for reporting her,
She doesn't fit into the boxes society tries to really put, and she doesn't want it. She's unapologetically herself, and that's what makes her shine. She's the kind of person who lights up a room just by walking.
she doesn't acknowledge that the living conditions she shared online may have already been a red flag for hotel staff. If she knew that people were already criticizing her family's situation, why did she continue to publicize it? It's almost as if she wanted the attention, even at the cost of her family's privacy and security. This situation has become a prime example of Stephanie's recurring pattern of deflecting blame, instead of taking responsibility for her choices.
She's always there with a smile and a kind word, ready to lift others up when they're feeling down.
She consistently blames others for her misfortunes. She was the one who shared details of their living conditions. She was the one who put their struggles on display for the public, and now she's acting surprised that people are reacting to it. The bigger question is whether she will ever take accountability, or if she will continue to dig herself deeper into a web of contradictions. With everything that's happening, it's becoming harder for the public to believe her version of events. And let's talk about Drew's so-called health issues. Stephanie has been using his condition as an excuse for their financial instability, claiming he hasn't been able to work. But here's the kicker. They didn't even know what was wrong with him until recently.
She has a way of finding the funny side of things, even in the darkest of times. Her loyalty is unlike any other.
For months, they've been riding on this excuse without any real answers from a doctor. Then, suddenly, after they get kicked out of the hotel, they decide it's time to get some actual medical advice. The timing is just a little too convenient, don't you think? If Drew's health was really a major obstacle, wouldn't it have made more sense to address it long before they reached the point of eviction? Instead, Stephanie seemed more focused on protecting Drew's image than actually solving their problems. The bigger issue here is how Stephanie's priorities are completely skewed. She's more concerned with keeping her family together, no matter how unstable their situation is, than making tough decisions that would actually benefit her children. Whether it's pushing Drew to get real medical help,
from Stephanie's page, and she literally started the whole countdown anyways. Anytime that I have brought up this family, it was literally about
finding a steady income, or making sure her kids have a safe environment, she keeps making excuses instead of taking action. It's like she's stuck in a toxic cycle, unable to see the bigger picture. And let's be honest, at this point, the health excuse is losing credibility fast. How much longer are they going to use Drew's condition as a crutch instead of actually working toward a better future? But if you thought things couldn't get worse, buckle up, because they did. The most alarming part of this whole situation,
how they are using their followers and their platform to do nothing to better their situation. And just because I'm harsh does not mean that I'm bullying.
Stephanie and Drew left their young children alone in a hotel room while they went to a doctor's appointment. Yes, you read that right. A 5-year-old and a 6-year-old were left completely unsupervised in an unfamiliar place. Even if Stephanie insists she had no other choice, it raises a ton of questions. Couldn't Drew have gone alone? Couldn't someone else have helped? The fact that they both left, knowing how risky it was, says a lot about their decision-making skills, or lack thereof. If Drew was really too sick to handle an appointment on his own, why wasn't that an immediate priority long before now? And if Stephanie was truly concerned about their kids' well-being, why didn't she arrange for someone to watch them instead of taking such a careless risk? It's not just a bad decision, it shows a pattern of reckless parenting. These two aren't thinking ahead, they're constantly reacting to their problems rather than preventing them. And that kind of mindset puts their children in danger. Leaving young kids alone isn't just about one bad choice. It's about an ongoing pattern of neglect and poor judgment. If they're this careless with something as simple as a doctor's visit, what other decisions have they made that we don't know about? Are they constantly prioritizing their own emotional needs over their children's safety? It's disturbing to think about the long-term effects this could have on their kids. Growing up in this kind of unstable environment could leave them feeling unsafe and unprotected, and that damage isn't easy to undo. At the end of the day, the Jenkins family is caught in a cycle of bad decisions, and it's their kids who are suffering the most. Stephanie can cry about hate all she wants, but the real issue isn't the public, it's her inability to take charge and build a better life for her family. Instead of playing the victim, she needs to start making real changes. Now that they've moved into yet another hotel, will she finally take some responsibility? Or will she keep blaming everyone else while her kids continue to live in chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Stephanie will finally wake up? Or is this just the beginning of another round of excuses? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this never-ending saga.